This is Victor. Victor is deploying the beacons. There's 4 beacons that go around the green. So Victor has removed the flag. He's going to fix ball marks. He's going to knock the dew off the approach and the intermediate. He just pushed search on the Cadet RG3 robot. So it's searching the 4 beacons that he's placed around the green. And now he's just pushed start. And it's going to begin cutting the green. You can see he's putting a 5th device on the ground, and it actually connects to a wire that's buried directly between the green and the collar. And when the robot's doing its final pass, it follows that wire, producing one of the best cleanup passes, or the best cleanup pass that you'll ever see. So the RG3 is not using GPS. It's broadly known that, it's broadly assumed that it does use GPS, but it actually uses these 4 beacons. It positions itself using sound wave and light waves communicating to these beacons. So in a nutshell, it's basically doing simple math. It knows where it's at by measuring between these beacons. You can now see Victor's changing the cup. We go ahead and change the cup ahead of mowing, and we leave our cup a little bit high, about a 1/4 inch below surface. And then we set the cup at the very end. You see Victor is now fixing ball marks. We're currently on one gold green. Last year this green was also cut with the Cadet RG3 robotic mowers. So we are in our second season on this particular green. We did 10 holes last year as a trial to make sure that we liked everything about them. And this year we're mowing all 28 holes with the RG3s. Some of the advantages and reasons that we're using them: I wanted to eliminate the Sasco rollers from being utilized on our putting surfaces. As most of you know that are in the business, we get a lot of stress on the approach area and behind the green from the Sasco rollers. Back 15 years ago, we were rolling on Saturdays and Sundays. And then we started rolling Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, because Wednesday was Men's Day. And then before long, we were doing Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And about 5 years ago, many of us all started rolling 7 days a week. All because we want to do a better job. We want the greens to be as good as they can be playability-wise. Negative things came along with that, with the additional wear we were all getting on approaches and behind the greens. The RG3 is set up where it makes 7 different turns. It never turns in the same spot. So let's say on day 1 it'll actually turn near the collar. Day 2 it'll move back a little bit farther. Day 3 a little bit farther. So on and so forth. So it's never turning in the same spot. It's always programmable. And if you look here in this particular shot, you can see it's going back fairly far today. And it makes nice gentle turns. The mower drops without making any mower marks. Unlike we can do while we're mowing greens. We all think we're some of the best greens mowers in the world. But we still can't do what this mower is doing as far as a nice gentle drop. There's never a mark on the collar. The edge of the green looks absolutely spectacular. So getting back to Victor, you can see he's not going to do off the approach. He's also knocking the dew off of the intermediate. So when the RG3 is making turns, it obviously slows down. You can see that. But once it gets on the green surface, it starts off slowly, then it speeds up to about 3.4 miles an hour. We have an FOC of 0.1. I was never much of a believer in FOC. FOC is frequency of clip. Until I got the RG3s, then I really started paying attention to FOC, and it really does make a big difference. The company Cadet programs everything within the unit. So basically all the employee has to do is push search to search the beacons and then push start. It does have a fail-safe system where before the employee pushes start, it tells that employee where it thinks it's at, and it'll say 1 gold, and the employee says 3 different things. Cancel, yes or no. So then he pushes start after he verifies that it's on the right green. And we've been at this now 2 years, and it's never found a wrong green. It's always finds the correct green. Well, back to Victor. Now he's doing the bunker edges. I have sand pros that rake the middle, and my operators of the RG3 take care of the edges. You can see in the foreground I have another RG3 heading over to 1 blue-green. So I have 6 RG3s out here mowing, rolling. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have 2 units finishing at 8:45 and 4 units finishing at 9:15, which is the same amount of time that it used to take us to cut the greens the standard way and roll. Certainly the greens mowers itself always got into the shop a little bit before rollers. The rolling and changing cups was the last job. But basically my staff's still leaving at the same time that they've left my shop going home as in the past. So I did mention that my goal was to get the Southco's off the greens. The RG3 actually does mow and roll at the same time. We did PALS meter readings last year to verify that we were indeed similar in green speeds by not rolling with the Southco's and letting the RG3 roll the green instead. And we found out last year, because of FOC, or at least that's my belief, that our green speeds were increasing, and I had to raise the height slightly on the RG3 last year to match up to what we were doing with the other mowers. We were also only losing 6 inches of green speed by end of day with the RG3, where I would lose 12 inches of green speed by end of day with the greens that were rolled with the Southco's. Southco's are a little bit heavier than this RG3, and they do give you an additional 12 inches first thing in the morning. I believe the RG3 combined with the FOC and the lighter weight rolling, that the rolling of the RG3 is really only giving us 6 inches. So we're only losing 6 inches by the end of the day. I verified that season long last year, that every single day the RG3 greens were 6 inches faster than the Southco greens, even though we started off at the same speed at the beginning of the day. In the past, our greens cutting operation took 9 guys to mow the greens, change the cups, and roll the greens. So I had 6 guys mowing greens. They would fix ball marks, knock the dew off the approach. And I had 3 guys changing cups and rolling greens. So I used to have 13 guys on the weekends. And now with the RG3s, I have 6 guys mowing greens, which replace the rolling. That's those same 6 guys change the cups, rake the bunker edges, knock the dew off the approach, fix ball marks. So I've reduced the greens preparation from 9 guys to 6 guys, and we're doing a better job. You can see Victor's using an electric core blower. Which is also part of Cadet's brand. This particular blower does not interfere with the RG3, where a gas-powered backpack blower actually causes a little bit of interference, because it is using sound waves, and sound waves are deflected by the noise. So I'm going to go ahead and stay here. I'm not going to move. The RG3 has a radar system. It's a fail-safe system that will not allow it to run anybody over. You can see it pick the mower up. I'll move out of the way and put the mower back on. And it'll continue along. Now if I stood there long enough, I think it's 4 or 5 seconds, the RG3 would stay in that position and the operator would have to push start. That's also a fail-safe system, that it's not going to run something over that it thinks is still there. Not really sure if it'll show up in the video, but the edges are really, really good. Had one of our golf pros telling me last year that the putting green looked better than it ever did, but he never really could explain what was better about it. I believe he was looking at the edges, looking better than he had ever seen before. So he was making that comment season long that the green just looked better. Something about it looked better. I believe it's nice crisp edges with it doesn't have any of the mower drops. No marks on the collar. So I'm looking at the clock here on my cell phone while I record this. We're 25 minutes in. It takes generally about 30 minutes to mow a green like this, which includes all the other maintenance practices that you saw, which is right in line with what we've done in the past. I'm going to head back up the hill here a little bit to give you an overview of it doing a cleanup pass. So on the cleanup passes, 2 days a week we do the cleanup pass all the way out to the edge. We do that on Wednesdays and Saturdays. On Sundays we do a 2-inch offset, which means it's going to stay 2 inches away from the collar. And Cub Cadet RG3 found out through experience that they had more success by moving that pattern around, but yet the general golfer they have no idea you're moving it around. Where if you go 7 days a week on the outside pass, you do end up having a little bit of a wear pattern. By varying that edge, not always cutting all the way out, you eliminate all wear patterns. Okay, right now it's going to do something that they call creep. It's going to drop the head. It's going to creep over into its position. And right now it's connected to the wire. Meaning it's found the wire, it really doesn't connect to it. And it's beginning to do the cleanup pass. You might be able to see there in the video that it actually did a 2-inch offset. Since today is Sunday. You may also notice it goes a little bit slower during the cleanup procedure. So Victor went ahead and set the cup. The new hole location is ready for play. And looking at my clock, we're at 30 minutes right now. So it's right back to where it began the cleanup pass. It's almost finished here. It's going to pick the head up. It'll turn around and it'll return home. And home is wherever it began. So it's actually going to drive itself back over to the cart and park itself in the same place that it was parked by the employee whenever he pushed start. And you can see Victor walking over to a beacon. He's going to walk to one of the beacons farther away from the cart. And once the RG3 stops, he'll begin picking the beacons up. So you can see it stopped right where it began. Now Victor's going to pick the beacons up. He will load the beacons onto the RG3. He's already loaded up the power source. For the wire. You can see the operator pulls the handle up into the operator position. Puts the beacons on, drives it over to the trailer and loads it up. We dump our grass into a Rubbermaid container just to keep the cart clean. Victor also just cleaned off the front roller of the mower. That's something we do before we mow the next green. That's it. Victor's off to his next hole. So that was the complete operation of a Cadet RG3 robotic greens mower on one gold green here at Valley Brook Country Club in McMurray, Pennsylvania.